Hey everyone, happy Saturday. I am so glad it's the weekend. And we are here for another Instagram chat. And I wanted to point you towards some of the chats if you haven't already seen them. We interviewed Karina Barn, our executive director of Symphony Tacoma. So Mary Bestall, senior director of development at the Nashville Symphony. And today is just a pause from that, and there's Brianna to meet the Orchestra Careers Team, which is Brianna and I. I started this channel in an effort to spread awareness about all the careers for orchestras on and off the stage. And in doing that, I hope students like Brianna and anyone else out there, and like myself at one point, can find the best career for themselves. And also that this could just be a resource for anyone interested in better understanding how an orchestra works behind the scenes. So who better to help me on this journey than Brianna? And so today is just a chance to ask each other. We're going to ask each other some questions, and if you want to ask us some questions, put them down in the chat, in the comments below, and we will grab those as we can. But Brianna joined me in this adventure on Orchestra Careers just a couple months ago, and all those fabulous graphics and all the stuff on our website and our social media is created by her. And she's also just a thought partner with me. I really want to connect and be a really great resource. My heart is with students who might want a career with music and not know all the options out there. So Brianna, it is a joy to work with you, and so glad you could join me for this chat today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so we're going to dive right in because this is a Q&A. And so growing up, when did you realize you wanted to pursue a career in music?
Well, I was thinking about this and how I've kind of been a performer all of my life. I mean, I was singing in elementary school and middle school and stuff like that. My mom made me join band in sixth grade. But between the ages of 7 and 8, when I started taking guitar lessons, I remember so many days telling my mom, oh, I'm going to be a pop star. I'm going to be playing guitar and singing, and I'm going to be just like Hannah Montana, because that was, anyone who's my age, that was their biggest inspiration. But obviously that kind of shifted. And when I was in high school and I started taking clarinet more seriously, I realized that I felt very strongly about performance and pursuing that path.
So is that why you chose to go to MTSU, Middle Tennessee State University?
Yeah. I think 100% my biggest decision on that was based on my private lesson teacher, Dr. Todd Waldecker. And I had just clicked with him so much. I met him my sophomore year of high school, and had a couple lessons with him. And then eventually I auditioned for Tennessee Governor School for the Arts, and I auditioned for him. So I got to spend an entire month studying with him as a high school student, which was, just the coolest thing ever as a high schooler. And that definitely swayed my decision just because I enjoyed working with him so much. And when you're in performance, I think that your private lesson teacher is probably the most important person in your life because they're your biggest mentor towards your end goal.
Yeah, and role model. I mean, you're spending the most concentrated time with that person, and they're very influential for sure. Well, I had the opportunity to study in high school with a collegiate teacher too, and it's just like, wow, this is possible. Maybe this is I can do this. So now fast forward, you are finishing up your junior year, about to kick off your senior year, but you're going to be graduated by December. So has anything surprised you about pursuing a music career in these last couple years?
Oh my gosh, anybody who has gotten a music degree knows what a roller coaster it is. I mean, you graduate high school, you go into a music degree, and most people I know who go into college wanting, performance education, whatever it may be, a lot of them end up thinking, I'm either going to be a teacher or I'm going to be a performer. And that seems like the only two paths that are in front of you. And I went in with a music industry degree, which I'm very thankful that I went into the music industry program because it opened a million different doors for me. And I realized there are so many different paths besides the two. So, I mean, every single year it's a new thing. And I think, especially in a music industry degree, a lot of the opportunities that I came across that are pretty much jobs that I never would have known that existed happen because maybe my advisor sent out an email for an internship, let's say my internship that I did with Murfreesboro Symphony, and they wanted an intern, and I was a sophomore in college, and I sent them my resume thinking, oh, there's no way I'll get that. I'm only a sophomore. I haven't even done anything with orchestras yet. And then I got the internship. So there's tons of resources, tons of jobs, and the more you do, the more you realize that there are hundreds of people that make an orchestra run.
Well, and that also is a testament to your just awareness and being open to the idea that I don't know what's out there. And you just kind of had to take a little bit of a leap of faith that, okay, I'm just going to try this internship thing and see what happens. So I guess through all of that, what have you learned about yourself in the last couple of years about maybe some superpowers or skills that you have or challenges that you've had to overcome while navigating this path towards a career?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest challenge I had to overcome was kind of in the past year and pretty much figuring out my personal idea of a career change. Obviously, I'm not in a specific career just yet, but I came into college thinking I'm going to perform. I'm going to be the principal clarinet of the New York Philharmonic, and it's that or nothing else, just because I had no idea. So in the past year, I kind of realized, well, I'm not ready to put everything that I have into playing the clarinet because I'm only one person and I would like to still have a life that is enjoyable. And I realized that as much as I enjoyed certain aspects of playing clarinet, I did not enjoy the aspects that it would have taken to become a performer. Plenty of people do, and that's why they are performers. And then it kind of occurred to me just because of seeing what you do and my opportunity to meet you, that the instincts that I was having in the path that I had chosen were aligned with a totally different path, and I enjoyed kind of doing stuff similar to what you do. And so my big reasoning for having recitals every single year of my degree maybe was not because I wanted to play so much. I honestly think a lot of it was because I wanted to market for it and I wanted to make posters and I wanted to do than just performing. But I used the performing to my advantage to do the things that I actually wanted to do.
I love that. And I can totally connect that with that. And when I was in college, I went to Eastern School of Music for 4 years undergrad. I was like, I'm in music school. I can just play the oboe all the time. And I loved it. I mean, I still thought, okay, this is the path for me. But I quickly realized if I didn't have enough to do, then I would create work for myself. Like, I want to play this Mozart Symphony Concertante with an orchestra. Okay, then I'm going to get the orchestra together. I'm going to promote it. I'm going to book the space. I'm going to, I mean, X, Y, like A to Z. I wanted to do all those steps, and it bred more and more possibilities for me. But little did I know that actually those were kind of building a foundation for a career that I still didn't know existed when I was in college. So what dreams do you now maybe have for a music career that you didn't know were possible even just a few years ago?
Everything that is off the stage, but with an orchestra, especially after my internship with Murfreesboro Symphony. I think the greatest part was seeing the things that I made happen come to fruition, and at the end of the day, coming to the concert, seeing the performers on stage, but seeing people interact with the programs and the marketing things. And I started student ticketing for a while, so I saw a lot of students coming in to some of our final concerts. And so it was just kind of like, I don't know, it was exciting to see what I had done had made a difference.
So
but
there's a lot.
nobody would have known.
Well, there's a little, it sounds like you have a level of satisfaction in just being a part of it, and seeing how your role and your skills can support the music. I mean, is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I feel the same way. We are, and I was trying to remember, when was the first time we met? It was in the music industry class at MTSU I came to speak to. That must have been almost 2 years ago now.
I think so, yeah. Yeah, and I remember it pretty clearly. I think you had come to speak two different times. I couldn't make it to the first one because I had an ensemble or something. I don't know. Music students are super busy. But the second time that you came to talk, that's when I came because I had already started showing an interest in stuff with orchestras behind the scene just because I had gone to Nashville Symphony and I could kind of see people in the back walking around doing stuff in between sets, whatever. And I would kind of like flip through the program and look to see like names of staff and stuff like that. I remember seeing your name, and for a long time I would actually look for your email and try to figure out how I could get in contact to you, but I never got it figured out until you came to the school, and it was like this was presented to me as easily as possible. And so that's kind of a similar thing to when I threw myself out there for Murfreesboro Symphony. I saw that you were coming to talk at MTSU. I thought, okay, this is my chance. I can throw myself out there and get to know her and, you know, see where this takes me. And obviously, both of those things were incredibly important because I would not be here today if I had not done that.
Well, life is a series of these types of things. You know, you have to be ready and aware, and your eyes have to be open. That's the only reason I'm sitting here today too, is because an unexpected door opened. I was like, oh, what happens if I walk through it? And here I am almost 15 years later in a career that I love. So but I remember that class that I came and just talked about what I do at the Nashville Symphony, and you were there in the front row, and you said, and I always offer to students a couple different opportunities, and the most easily done one is a job shadow, especially if they're local, because you can just come follow me around for a concert. And I remember we set that up, and you came and did that, and we talked some more. And actually, I would say that you were supposed to have an internship with me this summer, and COVID-19 hit, and we're not having many concerts right now. So as you and I just kind of started to connect, and you stayed in touch with me, which I find really important for students to do. If once you find someone that maybe you want to just learn more about, just you have to have the initiative to reach out, and you did, and you stayed in touch, and we kept talking. And so as I was trying to get this Orchestra Careers idea together, you know, I was finding a lot of similarities and just kind of where you were and where I was, and just how could I be a resource to students like you. So I think that to all the students out there, keep your eyes open. I tell my interns, have antennas that are just kind of always scanning for different reasons too. But I think that you show initiative, and took some bold steps, and also the follow through is absolutely critical. So yeah, I mean, but I'm excited for you, because this is just the beginning of the journey, and you're so far ahead of where I was when I was in college. So more about that, but shifting gears. Okay, so the fun side of outside, yes, you've said music school is super busy, and we're talking a lot about careers, but life is about even more than just that. So outside of all the formal professional stuff, what is it? Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. Do you have any pets?
Oh my gosh. If I could tell you how many pets I have, I could not, or I have had over my lifetime, I could not count on my fingers and toes. I've had so many. Growing up, I always had at least 3 dogs and at least 3 cats.
Oh,
Everybody
wow.
kind of knew my mom and I as we were almost like an animal shelter, just because if there was a stray dog, if there was a stray cat, we were going to take care of them. And that was kind of what it was. But now I'm an adult, I live on my own, but I have a 4-month-old green cheek conure. So
Oh,
kind of a
wow.
new mom here. He's a tiny green parrot. But yeah, so that's the pet that I have. We've only had him for about a month, so we're still kind of getting used to him. Before him, for 5 years, I had a pet cockatiel, and she was like my pride and joy and my best friend in the whole world. I got her my junior year of high school, and she stayed with me until about a month and a half ago when she passed away. But
Oh,
she was like, just the best pet and a wonderful pet to have during these transitions in my life from high school to college and then, living on my own and stuff like that. Yeah, pets are very important actually.
well, and yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I have a dog now. It's been a couple years since I had a dog, and his name is Ralphie. And I guess my point in asking this is that as much as we're pouring into finding our career and working, the more I've poured into that, I also realized that I have to also pursue the parts of me that aren't my career. And I have a family, I have a son, and I enjoy being outside and enjoy my family. So I think that the sooner you can, as a student, identify a hobby that you like to do and protect that time in your schedule. It might be that yoga or rock climbing or I don't know, whatever, video games it might be, but it's important that you protect that time because you're going to need that kind of break from the day and pause on just the intensity of pursuing your career. And I think that's really important. So what else do you like to do when you have free time? How do you spend it?
Well, normally I like to rock climb, and I kind of got into that just because my friends were starting to get into rock climbing, and I tried it out a bit, and then it became a very fun hobby and the best way for me to exercise because most people don't like to exercise, and I'm definitely one of them, but this didn't feel like exercising whatsoever. I just kind of, it was more of a puzzle every day, but um, yeah, so I have a climbing membership and I do that. Other than that, I enjoy spending time with my pets. So, normally I do enjoy spending time with my birds, although the one that I have right now are still training. So a lot of my time is being dedicated to working with him and training him. Other than that, I like to bake. So I make
Oh, yeah.
cakes, cupcakes. My favorite thing that I've made so far, or the thing that has been most rewarding to bake so far, has been French macarons.
Oh,
They're really hard to make, but they really pay off. And also, if you mess them up, they still taste really great. So that's another good thing. Most things, if you mess it up, you're still going to have something good to eat.
that's awesome. Yeah. During this quarantine, I've been baking and making things. I made brownies the other day from scratch because I had the time and the ingredients. And I made homemade Mounds bars a couple weeks ago because I was like, I want a Mounds bar, but I might as well make it. So it's super easy. They're totally fun. You can check my Facebook or Instagram for whatever recipe I used. But okay, so the last question I had was still just a fun one. If you could visit anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Um, if we're talking about a new city, I would probably go to Paris. It's pretty cliche, but I'm also, cliche. I'd love to go and just see what it's like. I'd love to speak French first, but, we'll get there. Um, but if I was talking about a city I've already been to, I would definitely go back to Vienna, Austria. I did a study abroad there, and it is probably my favorite place in the whole world.
Soccer torts and Viennese coffee.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to turn the tables here. I don't know. I'm going to check the comments real quick. I don't know if anybody has any questions for Brianna before she puts me on the spot, but if you do, add them below and we'll be sure to get them later. So, okay, so I don't see any questions for you. So, okay, now it's time for you to ask questions of me.
All right, I'll start with the more career-oriented ones, but I definitely wanted to know what your inspiration was for Orchestra Careers.
Yeah, well, I didn't know my career existed till after grad school, and then the rest was history. I out of grad school within a couple months, I got an internship in operations, and here I am 14 years later, still in operations. And so over the years, it just occurred to me, and I just kept thinking and thinking, really just with myself about, wow, I didn't know this career existed. I love this career. And I know there's got to be students like me, like when I was in music school, who really weren't sure that performance was the right path for them, but I didn't see any other options that I wanted to pursue. And so in wanting to share, number one, I just love the way orchestras work. I love behind the scenes. I love figuring out the puzzle of how to make things work. And there's so many people that just don't understand that there's as many people on stage and as many people off the stage working to support a professional orchestra as there are on the stage. And they are rewarding careers. They are fulfilling careers. And so I just want to share, number one, all the careers that are possible. Number two, support and walk alongside students who might be interested, because there is no set path and there is no guidebook how to do this. And I just want to help students get careers. So that is why it kind of has all come together, and it's still evolving. But I've really enjoyed adding on these chats, because it seems to be a really great way to introduce some of my friends in the industry who are doing what they love.
All right. It looks like I have a question for me. Do you want me to answer that now or save that for later?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Okay, so the question is, what performances did you see in Vienna? And I saw so many performances. I went to a concert at least every other day, but I'll just mention a few of them. I got to see Hilary Hahn do an all-Bach concert, so that was super cool. And I got to see the opera Tosca, and I think that one was hands down my favorite performance that I saw while I was there. I also got to see Orfeo, and I got to see the Vienna Phil play Rite of Spring. So, I mean, got to see some incredible concerts while I was there. I am very lucky.
Excellent.
All right, so I'll move on to the next question. What compelled you to apply for your first internship?
Yeah, well, I was just finishing up grad school at Rice University in oboe performance, and I'd had an experience there managing this chamber music series for kids. And so I thought, okay, well, maybe that's an option. Maybe I can do that as a job. But I came to graduation, didn't have a job, and my parents live in Maryland. So I was like, well, Mom, Dad, can I come live with you for a couple months and figure out life? And luckily, the Kennedy Center is right near where they live. And so I applied for all the education internships at the Kennedy Center because I needed something to do. And it was just, I didn't know what. And in the process, in reviewing my application, the National Symphony offered me an internship in operations. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I got an internship. What the heck is operations? And I had no idea. But that began the journey to open my eyes to the whole world behind. So it was really, I didn't have a job yet, didn't know what to do, and it was really a great way to explore some options.
Awesome. Okay, well, it looks like we have a question for you, and that is, what has been the most difficult concert to produce?
Whew. Well, I would say logistically, one of the most complicated ones was when I was back in Pittsburgh, and we were going to do a community concert, but the vision for it from the music director, Manfred Honeck, was a 2,000-person choir in the Pitt basketball stadium to sing the finale of Mahler 2. And so just the logistics of building a stage in a basketball stadium and getting 2,000 voices to all see the conductor, and there's just timing issues because a basketball arena is not exactly an acoustically perfect space. Like there's a lot of bounce and a lot of like just weirdness. And then the whole HVAC system was on this programming that was just like super cold. So then we had to figure out how to regulate that. And it was logistically very challenging and very memorable. And when it all came together, as most of these challenging things do, it was worth it. I mean, I think that's what keeps me interested, is just keeping my eye on the prize, right? Keeping my eye on how it's all going to be in the end. But that was a pretty challenging one.
All right. So my next question is, what is your favorite part about your job with the Nashville Symphony?
I love the different variety of things that we get to do here in Nashville. Being Music City, there's a lot of connections to a lot of artists that I'd never worked with before. And so it's just very exciting. You know, there's kind of this celebrity factor, I would say, to the people we get to work with. But the amazing thing is that when we get to work with these people that you've always heard about, they're real people. And so there's this just intense connection that I always feel in the performances, and that is definitely the thing that keeps me going. Is I was thinking about this earlier this afternoon, is to, you know, I love the art form that is the orchestra. I just always have, and I think it's because it's the way it makes me feel to play in an orchestra and to hear an orchestra. And so when I can be in my job facilitating others having that experience, and hearing the audience just go bonkers for whatever could be on stage. And here in Nashville, it could be any manner of things. That's really the thing that keeps me going, is just seeing how powerful the orchestra can be for our community.
That sounds really cool. I have gotten to job Shadow Sonya 2 different times, and it's really cool the things that you get to see from her perspective. So. All right. My next question, I'm kind of asking selfishly because it's, you know, I just talked about the weird time that I had kind of gone through, realizing that I was no longer so much interested in performance, and I realized that there were several other doors open for me. It's kind of a weird time to go through as a student, and you kind of go through this metamorphosis almost. It's like you become a new person in a sense. So I wanted to know, at what point did you realize that performance was not the right path for you?
Well, it wasn't right away. And, you know, I explained that I got this internship at the Kennedy Center. And then after that, I was like, okay, well, I still need a job. I wanted to move to Pittsburgh because I had family there. And I got a part-time job as operations assistant at the Pittsburgh Symphony. And I thought this was great. I can get an apartment. I can start a private studio. I can start a reed making businesses, because that's what us weird oboists do.
Yeah.
And then I have a desk job that I just found out about. So it really was functional in the beginning. But within 2 months, someone left the department and they offered me full time. And I was like, oh, now this is like a real job with like salary and benefits. I should probably be an adult and have that. But I knew that it would mean that I would have to set my kind of other dreams for now aside, but I just really thought of it as pressing pause on that. But it took a year of being full-time, and the expectations on me, and honestly, I'll be honest, I felt like I was starting over. I felt like I didn't know anything. Even though I'd always loved orchestras, I had no idea that this operations thing existed, and I didn't realize that the number one skill that I needed was how to work with people. And I just had no clue. Like, so I really struggled that first year. And my boss at the time, and one of my great friends, Marcy, she sat me down. I tell this story a lot. And she sat me down one day and said, look, you need to basically shape up or ship out, because we need someone whose head is fully here. And I was like, in my mind, I was this oboist who had this desk job. And took the weekend to think about it. And I said, Sonya, come on, like, you would be a fool not to learn everything you could from the Pittsburgh Symphony. And I walked in on Monday and I told Marcy that, and she's like, oh, okay. And then from then on, like, that was the transformation for me. My head was in it. I was like, this is an opportunity for me to learn. And I was needing a lot of humility, because I was coming from this world where I was an oboist. You know, I went to Eastman and Rice, and I could, you know, I just felt very positive and confident about that ability, but there was so much to learn. So it was really quite a wild ride the first year into my career. But I've tried never to take for granted that attitude of, I need to learn something today. And so I think you can always learn something, and it's so exciting then if you approach life that way. And I'm still learning each and every day, and I learn from you. Like, you know, I reach out to you and ask you questions. So I feel like that that really was part of my transformation, was realizing I have something I can learn from this situation.
That's awesome. Okay, so I'm going to shift from the more career-oriented things and go to the fun questions. So in your spare time, which I know is very limited, what do you enjoy doing?
Well, that would be playing with my son, Ethan. He is 6.5, and so I have to be ready to do anything from ninja training in the backyard, which usually means like fake kicking, the wall or the sidewalk chalk ninja on the fence, and to water balloon fights the other day, playing with Legos. So I mean, I just really enjoy being a kid, and that's really the bulk of the time. But I like being outside here in Tennessee. There's just a lot of, we're having some great weather. It's if we had to have any type of weather during a quarantine when we had to just stay at home, this is the weather to have. It's been like 75 and blue skies. So I love being outside in the sunshine, taking walks with my dog, Ralphie.
So can you tell me more about your dog?
Yeah, Ralphie. We just got him from the Nashville Humane Association, and I had moved back to Nashville from about an hour outside the city about a year ago, and we wanted a dog. And I've always been a small dog person, and so I was like, oh, we should get a tiny dog. Well, all the time, oh, I guess we're getting a bigger dog. And but the staff there was so great, and they're like, you should check out Ralphie. And Ralphie is like the sweetest. I mean, with a 6.5-year-old son, like, you need a dog that just can tolerate pulling and tugging and hugging and riding on like a horse. I mean, it's just, and I try to, don't worry, I'm training Ethan to not harass the dog, but Ralphie is such a sweetheart, and he just wants to be loved, and he likes walks, and he doesn't really fetch. He kind of chases the ball and then runs back to you, but leaves the ball where it is. So, but he's a sweetheart.
Okay, so my next question is, what is your personal motto?
Right. Oh, right now, most often it's one day at a time. And you know what? This is the best I can do right now. And I think that it's taken me a long time to get there. I think that just the nature of a lot of things in life, and also right now we're all living in this crazy time where all we can do is take it one day at a time. And if that's too much, take it 1 hour at a time. And so just really prioritizing my, kind of self-care and my ability to do my best work, but also just recognizing my limitations. So that's what I mean by this is the best I can do right now, and being okay with that. Whereas before I would have just, kept being anxious about not doing enough, and not to say that those thoughts don't creep in, but one day at a time, and this is the best I can do right now.
Okay, so we have a question. This is actually from my mom. Hi, Mom. So this is for both of us. I'll just let you answer it first, but it's, what motivates you the most?
Oh, goodness. Well, people, I would say. I love being around people, and so this isolation has been kind of challenging, but thank goodness for video conferencing. But what I also mean by that is just supporting people, connecting people with music. And I think those are the most important things in life, is your family and your friends. And, I think I do have a lot of goals and a lot of projects, and I do like to achieve things. So I think that motivates me once I've figured out a goal, but I'm really selective about my goals so that it's something that would stretch me, but make me proud. And so I'm much more inclined to stick with it and make a plan that's going to push me, but also know that I am going to be motivated to achieve it and stick with it and follow through, because it's going to make me personally really proud to achieve. How about you?
I can definitely relate to the people thing as well. I'm definitely a people pleaser. So whatever I can do to make other people's lives easier, that is very important to me. Just to, I want to be that person that others can lean on, and when they're struggling, they can bring things to me and I can help. Same thing with Orchestra Careers. I love doing a lot for Orchestra Careers just to help make everyone's lives easier, especially with this resource. But most of the time, my biggest motivator is just completing big projects, whether that be things for school or things for or just goals that I've kind of made up for myself because I give myself a lot of work. So I love checking things off the list and, putting stuff out there.
Well, you're doing all the right things, Brianna. It's been so awesome to like get to know you, and I'm so excited for this is just the beginning for you. So you're doing all the right things. So you got to just keep on the path. But are there any other questions? Was going to check the chat and see if we have any other questions for Brianna or I. It's, we can do another one of these sessions if as people get to know us better.
Yeah, we can definitely do more. And as people are more interested, we can do kind of more live Q&As, stuff like that. I just have one more question before we wrap things up. What is your hope for the future of Orchestra Careers?
Oh, well, I would love to see it grow, and just I want to reach students, and I want to reach students primarily. My heart is with them, and I want to help students get jobs. And how do they do that? They need to know what the jobs are that are out there. They need to be able to envision themselves in those jobs. So I want to expose them and connect them to as many people. They need mentors. So any of the people on these chats, they are prepared, and I have told them they're ready to be connected with students. And I really urge students, anybody you see on these chats or anyone you see that's highlighted in one of our career snapshots, like these are people ready to be contacted. So I want to connect students with professionals, because that is how any of us get anywhere, is we need help. And I also want to walk alongside students. I love working with students, and the basic thing to get a job is you have to have a good resume. You have to know how to write a cover letter, which everybody hates doing, but it is the preliminary audition round, and you have to do it really well. And I have some really great ideas about that. And also, if you do mock auditions, you should do mock interviews. So I love doing mock interviews. It is the most uncomfortable thing probably you'll go through, but once you do it once, then the jitters are out, and you'll be so much better prepared for an actual interview, which is how you get a job if you're not going to be doing an audition. So I just want to give students the skills they'll need to get jobs and live their fullest life.
I'm excited to be able to help with all of that. So
yay.
Yeah, this is a wonderful resource for students, and I'm very lucky to be on the team as a student. So, I mean, it helps me probably as much as it helps anybody else.
Yeah, well, that's why we had this time today, to be able to meet the team, because I really do feel like you're a partner in this work with me. And before this call, Brianna and I had an awesome prep call with our next guest next week, Chelsea Tanner. Check her out. She is awesome, and she is doing some amazing things that we will tell you more about, but can't wait for you to meet her and hear everything that she's doing to help students prepare for their music career in 2020. So stay tuned. We're going to try to do some more of these chats every Saturday, and spread the word if you are enjoying them. Anything else, Brianna?
Nope. Thank you so much for doing this call with me. It's been a great time today.
Okay, see you guys soon, and send us any questions or thoughts that you have about the chat or the channel in general. Have a great day. Bye.